Welcome back to Atlanta and Company, everyone. I'm Christine Pallara. Americans are getting the message. The personal savings rate for Americans in 2009 was the highest it's been in 16 years. I'm glad to hear that. Saving for retirement or a big purchase is great, but it all starts with having an emergency savings fund. Back again for our financial resolution series is our shopping queen, Fatima Medikarimi, and I love having you. You always have such great advice.
To be here.
And of course, New Year's resolutions, finances, always at the top. So tell us why it is critical to have an emergency savings fund and, of course, how we can get started.
Well, the main reason is to avoid debt. A lot of people use their credit cards as their source for emergency funds. You know, if the car suddenly needs a new radiator or if the house has to have the roof fixed, that's how they pay for the repairs. But then you're left wondering, how in the world am I actually going to pay the credit card bill when it comes?
Right.
But if you have an emergency fund or a rainy day fund, you can pay your bills out of that fund and not have to worry about how you're going to pay for it as well, not go into debt, and then you've got all the interest interest charges and finance charges. Yes.
Now, Fatima, I've heard about 6 months worth. Is that accurate?
That would be a good goal, but I think that's what a lot of people have heard, and then so when they think about that, they get really overwhelmed. So that's why we're going to talk about how to actually break it down and not make it as bad. You know, another reason for having a emergency savings fund is the psychological effect, is just the peace of mind that you get with it that allows you to sleep at night.
Absolutely.
And even more importantly, it allows you to make better decisions. A lot of people, for example, if they lose their job, they're like, oh my God, you know, I have to find a job
tomorrow.
Exactly. And they don't have the time to wait for the right job. Or if the roof has an issue, you know, they just patch it instead of fix it the correct way. So that's the real thing, is it allows you to make better decisions.
Okay, so we know why it's important to have this fund, but as you said, how do we get started? You don't want to feel overwhelmed, so what do we do?
I say to literally start with just $10. That's all. You know, if you can go a little bit more, that would be great, but literally $10 a week, which everyone should be able to cut back on, would be $500 a year. So, you know, if you start with just that small amount, you can see that after a year that you would be at $500, and imagine if you tripled it or increased it even more.
Right. Well, let's also talk about, you say putting it away like debit, having it automatic.
Right.
That's a great idea, because then you won't even be tempted to get into that fund.
Exactly. You won't be tempted, as well as you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to be another thing on your to-do list. Most online banks and credit unions now allow you to do automatic payments, so you can set it up that every week or every pay period, you know, X amount goes from your checking account into your rainy day fund. Easy, simple as that.
Okay, so where can we look for more savings?
Looking for more savings, you know, once you start saving, once you make it automated, start looking for ways that you can save even more, get more bang for your buck. You know, if you don't watch all your cable channels, can you change your plan and save $20 a month? Are there other things that you can do to cut back? Or a lot of people think about cutting back, but what about earning more?
Right.
Are there things that you can sell in your closet that you haven't used that you can get some cash back? Can you offer to babysit for your friends and family and earn some money that way?
Great idea. It all adds up.
It all adds up. That's literally what I was going to say, is that a lot of people think of these things and they think it's so small, but don't think about the quantity. Don't think about how much it is, but think about how many times it is. For example, that $20 for the cable bill, $20, yeah, but $240 a year.
Yes.
So it's the quantity.
And we just actually got rid of our home phone. We never used it, ever. We're always on our cells. So, and that's a pretty significant savings. That was about $50 a month.
Right, and now with your automated savings, you can make that automatically move over to your savings account.
You're always thinking, I'm telling you, you're thinking like my husband. Okay, so what else? Do you have advice on really how to reach your goals? How do we do it?
Start small, as we said. So the first goal you should have is $1,000. $1,000 is a good amount to really aim for. And once you reach that, then you can start thinking about saving for 1 month of your expenses. So really know how much your expenses are per month, and 1 month of expenses should be your goal. And then as you reach that, you can continuously increase it, going to 3 months, and then your ultimate goal being 6 to 9 months of expenses.
Right.
And I will say, especially for families with one wage earner, it's even more crucial to have a higher emergency fund than normal.
Right. You know, what people don't realize, and I've been in this situation myself, when you think it's going to be easy or somewhat easy to find a job, or, oh, are you kidding? With my skill set, I should be able to get... It doesn't happen, especially in this market. You know, I have friends that are so talented and so good at what they do, and it's taken a year. So if you weren't prepared for that, and you don't have anything in your savings, you're going to be in big trouble.
That's right, or you could end up working at a job that you don't like just because you need to pay the bills.
Exactly, so we want to avoid that. So great advice as always, and what do you have for us next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about saving for the long term, for kids' education, for retirement, how to get started and really build up your long-term savings.
Okay, love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
See you next week. And if you would like some more money-saving tips, ideas, and coupons, visit the Shopping Queen's website at shoppingqueen.com. Well, climbing